What's good? What's good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of The Urban Platform Speaks. Make sure to like and subscribe as you come into the channel. Check out the content. And with that being said, I want to talk about Pat McAfee and Caitlin Clark and just try to show why this new age of social media and like people having their own platform, why that poses a problem for sponsors and for somebody like and different and larger platforms like ESPN. And the reason why this has come to my attention is because people are thinking like mainly it was the beef between Pat McAfee and Stephen A. Smith, right? And people are saying that Stephen A. Smith is jealous of Pat McAfee and he's trying to disrupt Pat McAfee's show by not allowing some of the sports commentators to go on to Pat McAfee's show. But I did a video about that, and the thing about the beef between Pat McAfee and Stephen A. Smith, it's like they're like not like even on the same ballpark basically, because you have someone like Pat McAfee who built his own platform, so he comes with his own base, and so when he come with his own base, he was able to demand. he was able to. I'm not even gonna say demand. He was able to negotiate a higher salary, right? A higher and basically what Pat McAfee has with ESPN is a partnership, right? And so that's this new age, this new social media age. Like people are building outside of like the sponsors and outside of big platforms like ESPN. So when they come to these places and they come to their sponsors to make money or to do a partnership, basically that's what it is. It's a partnership. Then they can negotiate they have a stronger hand to negotiate. And Stephen A. Smith wasn't like that. He was a product of ESPN, meaning that ESPN developed him. They grew him, grew his popularity. And so that's why I think with these new like take Caitlin Clark for example, like she comes with her own base, her own following. So she would demand a higher, like a higher, she would demand more money basically than somebody like if you come in and say like Nike wanted to give her a contract, she already knows her worth, so there's no way you can like start her off with like the minimum and say, well, if you do this, you do that, then we'll bump you up. They can't do that because she already knows that she has a following and a base, and that's the good thing about these young people going into social media these days, because they have their platforms and they already know what they're worth before before sponsors come along, and big larger platforms that want to partner with them. So that's why I encourage a lot of people, I encourage people to build your presence on social media, because that will give you more leverage. Say for instance, if you want to go into sales and marketing, and you have a large following, that your large following will really carry some weight, because now you have a large pool to draw from, as far as like being able to promote things and market things, and that's what it is. It's about sales and marketing. It's about being able to reach people and to sell your products and your merchandise. And so that's what I encourage people to do, because that will put you on a whole different level. Stephen A. Smith, he now started his own podcast. So he came to the party a little bit later, like myself. I came to the party a little bit later, but the more you grow your own base, the more leverage you have when it comes to partnering up with these larger companies who want to promote their they want to promote their product, they want to promote their services. So, and if you have a large following, then you can do business with them, and you can almost kind of like demand what you want from these companies. depending on how large your following is, right? And so that's the good thing about it. And so that's why I thought, like I said earlier, or in my last video, I thought that when Stephen A. Smith was, when he was beefing with Pat McAfee, it's just like it's really no beef there, because Pat McAfee is a kind, his following and his base is so large that he can basically write his own check, right? And so ESPN really is he's a partner with ESPN, whereas though Stephen A. Smith is an employee, and it's really it's hard for an employee to really like have a discrepancy or beef with somebody who's a partner. Partners just have more leverage than employees. And so Stephen A. Smith, like I said, he was late to the party. He just now catching on to the notion of build your own base outside of your job. This has been going on for a while, even in the music industry. In the music industry, they used to have talent scouts, and they used to go out and find kids or find the talent, and they teach you how to dance and perform, and then they'll give you like media training and all that stuff, and then they will build you into a superstar, right? But towards nowadays, you have to already have a certain amount of you have to have like a certain amount of followers on social media before these record labels or anything would do business with you. So they are no longer developing talent. You have to come to them already. So and that's the way it is, even with like book companies now, like in order to sell books, some people have a deal where as though in order to sell, before a book company will take your book on, you have to sell a certain amount of books on your own. Like I heard people say that they had to sell like 1,000 or maybe 5,000 books before a publishing company will take on your book. And that way it saves the publishing company money, because they don't really have to promote your book. It's like you can write a book and just sit back and the publishing company will just have to basically pray that your book takes off, right? But if you're out there promoting your book and you have a following, then it's not so much of a risk to the publishing company. So that's what it is now, man. That's the new game. It's about building your following, and that gives you more leverage. And yeah, man, I recommend everybody do that. As far as like, even if you're not really selling anything, it's going to come to the point where even for most jobs, you're going to have to, like, having a certain amount of a following or certain presence on social media will give you leverage. And so that's what a lot of people are finding out. But that's my take with on Pat McAfee and Caitlin Clark. They're and so with this following that they have and what they bring to the table is causing these companies to realize that they have that they just can't get these people any old kind of deal, because if the deal is not right, then they can just take their business elsewhere to the next. It just makes it more competitive, and it's fair to the little man, because if you have a following, and you have you got leverage. So with that being said, make sure to like and subscribe. Tell me what you think about about my statement, and